The rise of the Vorath. In the distant reaches of the galaxy, the planet Zerth lay at the center of a growing crisis. The once peaceful expanse was now engulfed in chaos as the Vorath, a fearsome and enigmatic alien race, emerged from the void. Their sudden appearance and ability to manipulate emotions instilled terror and panic across the galaxy. The Galactic Federation, a multi-species alliance formed to maintain peace and stability, found itself struggling against this new threat. The Vorath's fear-inducing capabilities wreaked havoc on planets that had previously been secure. Reports of entire worlds succumbing to panic and despair flooded the Federation's communication channels. The Federation's war room, filled with representatives of various species, was abuzz with urgency and frustration. Traditional military tactics proved ineffective against an enemy that fought with fear itself. Admiral Zane, a Valoran with a grim expression, voiced the dismay of many. "These creatures don't just fight with weapons, they fight with fear," he said. "Our troops are breaking down. We need a new strategy." As discussions continued, attention turned to a relatively new member of the Galactic Federation, humans. Despite their recent inclusion, humans had quickly gained a reputation for their resilience and adaptability. Captain Maria Alvarez, a fearless leader with a decorated service record, stood up to address the assembly. "We need to face this threat head-on," she declared. "Humans have a history of enduring and overcoming fear. Let us prove our worth." The Vorath were indeed a terrifying sight. Standing over 8 feet tall, their sleek, dark forms seemed to meld with the shadows. Their glowing eyes and telepathic pulses could pierce through the bravest souls, eliciting primal terror. On the front lines, Borean warriors, known for their stoicism, were reduced to trembling wrecks. Even Zenit, renowned for their strategic minds, were paralyzed by fear. As the Federation struggled to mount a defense, the humans prepared to enter the fray. Captain Alvarez was selected to lead the mission, joined by Dr. Elas Grant, a brilliant psychologist and xenobiologist, and Sergeant Alex Axe Carter, a seasoned and courageous soldier. They were tasked with developing new strategies to combat the Vorath's psychological warfare and help their allies overcome fear. A human approach to fear. The team's mission began with their arrival on a Federation planet under siege. The devastation was immediate. Buildings lay in ruins, and the streets were eerily silent save for the occasional cry of terror. Captain Alvarez, Dr. Grant, and Sergeant Carter established a command post and began coordinating with local forces. Dr. Grant introduced techniques designed to bolster mental resilience. Soldiers and civilians were taught meditation, cognitive behavioral strategies, and were provided with neuro-shielding devices. These techniques aimed to fortify their minds against the Vorath's fear-inducing telepathic waves. Sergeant Carter led patrols into the most affected areas. His calm presence served as a stabilizing force for the panicked civilians and soldiers. He shared stories of past battles, reminding everyone of humanity's capacity to overcome fear. His bravery inspired others to push back against the terror. As the days passed, the tide began to turn. The local forces started to rally, and the sight of humans standing firm against the Vorath's fear tactics gave them hope. Captain Alvarez used a combination of psychological warfare and traditional combat strategies to push the Vorath back. The Federation watched in awe as the initially underestimated humans began to make significant strides. The mission was far from over, but the initial victories provided a glimmer of hope. Captain Alvarez and her team knew that their greatest challenge lay ahead, neutralizing the Vorath's fear-inducing abilities once and for all. The galaxy now had a new weapon against fear, embodied in human determination and courage. The battle for Elysium. The Vorath launched a massive assault on the Federation planet of Elysium, a crucial hub for trade and strategic operations. The Vorath fleet descended upon the planet, their fear-inducing telepathic waves spreading panic and chaos among the defenders. Elysium's once orderly streets turned into scenes of pandemonium as soldiers and civilians alike succumbed to terror. The planet's formidable defenses began to falter under the Vorath's psychological attacks. Desperate calls for reinforcements were met with crumbling morale. The Galactic Federation turned to their newest members, the humans, despite lingering skepticism about their effectiveness. Led by Captain Maria Alvarez, the human contingent arrived with a single mission: to hold the line. The scale of the disaster was immediately apparent. Captain Alvarez quickly took command of the disorganized forces. Her calm demeanor and authoritative presence helped stabilize the situation. Dr. Elas Grant set up a makeshift command center and introduced psychological techniques to the defenders. Deep breathing, mindfulness, and cognitive reframing were emphasized. Grant also distributed neuroshielding devices to help block the Vorath's telepathic signals. Though rudimentary, these devices provided a measure of mental protection. As the Vorath's assault intensified, the human soldiers demonstrated their unique resilience. They moved through the battlefield with determination, using the techniques taught by Dr. Grant to maintain their composure. Sergeant Alex Axe Carter became a beacon of hope, leading counterattacks with fearless resolve. His bravery inspired those around him, proving that the Vorath's fear tactics could be resisted. Captain Alvarez used hit-and-run tactics to harass the Vorath, avoiding direct confrontations that could overwhelm her forces. Her strategic brilliance ensured that every move counted. Dr. Grant's neuro-shielding devices proved invaluable, and Grant extended his efforts to the civilian population, teaching them basic mental fortification techniques. Uniting with refugees. As the battle for Elysium continued, humans and Federation forces began to encounter pockets of resistance fighters, alien refugees who had been resisting the Vorath through their own means of mental fortitude. These refugees, a mix of species with diverse backgrounds, had developed unique techniques to combat the pervasive fear spread by the Vorath. Captain Maria Alvarez and her team first encountered these refugees in the ruins of an ancient city. Led by a stern but wise Rennie named Korvac, the refugees were initially wary of the humans. Past conflicts and cultural differences made trust difficult to establish. Korvac, a tall and imposing figure, addressed Captain Alvarez with a mix of pride and suspicion. "You humans have brought war to this place, but we have been fighting the Vorath long before your arrival," he said. "Why should we trust you?" Captain Alvarez met his gaze steadily. "We're here to defeat the Vorath just as you are. We have techniques and strategies that have helped us resist their fear tactics. By working together, we can be stronger." Initial interactions were tense, but as the humans and refugees faced common threats, a fragile trust began to form. Sergeant Alex Carter played a pivotal role, risking his life to save several refugees from a Vorath ambush. Dr. Grant worked closely with Korvac and other refugee leaders, sharing psychological techniques and learning from the refugees' own methods. Dr. Grant introduced techniques such as controlled breathing and mindfulness, while the refugees shared their practices of deep meditation and ritual chants. These combined techniques aimed to achieve the same goal: resilience against the Vorath's telepathic assaults. One evening, around a campfire, Captain Alvarez and Korvac discussed their strategies and shared stories of their people's struggles. "We have much to learn from each other," Korvac admitted. "Your methods are effective. Together, we might stand a chance." The joint operation. With trust established, the humans and refugees began to plan a joint operation to strike at the heart of the Vorath invasion force. Intelligence from the refugees revealed a critical vulnerability in the Vorath command structure. The Vorath relied heavily on a central nexus to coordinate their fear-inducing attacks. Destroying this nexus could significantly impair their ability to spread terror. Captain Alvarez, Korvac, and their respective teams worked tirelessly to develop a cohesive battle plan. Training sessions became a fusion of human and refugee techniques. Sergeant Carter and a refugee warrior named Thaldrin led physical training, exchanging modern combat tactics and advanced weaponry with traditional hand-to-hand combat techniques. Dr. Grant and Korvac focused on mental preparation. They developed combined exercises incorporating elements from both human psychology and ancient refugee traditions. These exercises aim to strengthen mental defenses and enhance the soldiers' ability to resist the Vorov's fear-inducing waves. The bond between the humans and refugees grew stronger with each passing day. They shared meals, stories, and moments of levity, crucial for maintaining morale. Captain Alvarez emphasized unity and shared purpose in her motivational speeches, reinforcing that their combined efforts were key to their survival. As the day of the joint operation approached, anticipation and determination filled the air. The plan required precise coordination and timing. The humans and refugees would launch a two-pronged assault. One team would infiltrate the Vorov base and disable the Nexus, while the other would provide a diversion. The final assault. The breakthrough. As night descended on the ravaged battlefield, Lieutenant Davidson and his squad regrouped at their makeshift command post. The starlight flickered through the thin layer of clouds, casting an eerie glow over the alien landscape. The intensity of the fighting had escalated, and the air was thick with the acrid scent of smoke and burning metal. Davidson surveyed the battlefield through his binoculars, his eyes scanning the distant alien lines. The enemy forces, though battered, still held their positions with unwavering resolve. The human forces, while exhausted, were equally determined. The brief respite had allowed them to regroup and strategize for the final assault. "All right, listen up." Davidson's voice cut through the noise of the battlefield. "We have one shot at this. The alien command structure is weak, and we've identified a critical vulnerability. If we hit their central command, we can break their morale and force a retreat." His squad nodded, their faces set with grim determination. The plan was risky, but it was their best chance to turn the tide of the battle. Davidson had already mapped out the approach, and each member of the squad knew their role in the impending assault. The infiltration. Under the cover of darkness, the squad moved stealthily through the war-torn terrain. The alien forces were still on high alert, their patrols sweeping the area with relentless efficiency. Davidson and his team used every bit of their training and ingenuity to avoid detection, their movements precise and deliberate. As they neared the alien command center, the sounds of battle grew louder, and the lights from the alien ships illuminated the night sky. Davidson's heart pounded in his chest, but he focused on the mission at hand. The alien command center was heavily fortified, but they had identified a weak spot in the defenses. "Stick to the plan," Davidson whispered. "We breach the perimeter, neutralize any resistance, and make our way to the command hub. Remember, we need to be quick and decisive." The squad moved in, their weapons ready. They approached the weak spot, a section of the perimeter that had been poorly reinforced. Davidson led the charge, using explosives to breach the outer defenses. The explosion was deafening, and the squad moved through the smoke and debris, engaging the alien defenders. The clash. Inside the command center, the fighting was fierce. The squad encountered heavy resistance from the alien forces who had been alerted to the breach. Davidson's team fought with a mix of precision and desperation, their training and experience allowing them to hold their ground against the relentless enemy. Despite the chaos, Davidson kept his focus on the command hub. He knew that neutralizing the alien leadership was key to their success. As they fought their way through the corridors, they encountered alien officers coordinating the defense. Each encounter was intense, but Davidson's squad was determined to push forward. Finally, they reached the command hub, a heavily fortified chamber at the center of the facility. Davidson's heart raced as they breached the final door, revealing the alien command staff. The room was filled with alien officers, their faces a mix of shock and fury as they realized the humans had reached their stronghold. The decision. Davidson and his squad engaged the alien command staff, their weapons blazing in the confined space. The battle was intense, but the squad fought with unwavering resolve. Davidson's tactical decisions and the squad's teamwork proved decisive as they overwhelmed the alien defenders. As the last of the alien officers fell, Davidson stood amidst the wreckage, his breath coming in heavy gasps. The command hub was now under human control, and the alien forces outside were disorganized and retreating. The victory was hard won, but it was a turning point in the battle. Davidson looked around at his squad, their faces reflecting a mixture of exhaustion and triumph. The final assault had succeeded, but the cost had been high. The battle was won, but the war was far from over. They had struck a significant blow against the alien forces, but there was still much work to be done. The aftermath. As the first light of dawn broke over the battlefield, Davidson and his squad began to regroup and assess the damage. The alien command center lay in ruins, and the enemy forces were retreating. The human forces had gained a critical advantage, but the cost of victory was evident in the fallen and the wounded. Davidson surveyed the battlefield, his thoughts focused on the future. The battle had been a hard-fought victory, but it was only the beginning of a larger conflict. The humans had proven their resilience and determination, but the fight was far from over. The squad gathered for a brief moment of respite, their faces showing the weight of their experiences. Davidson knew that the coming days would be challenging, but he also knew that their actions had made a difference. They had shown the aliens that humanity was not to be underestimated, and they had forged a path toward victory. The dawn of new hope, the rally. As the sun rose over the battlefield, its light revealed the full extent of the conflict. The once barren landscape was now marked with the remnants of battle, burned-out alien ships, smoldering wreckage, and the bodies of both fallen soldiers and alien invaders. The air was still thick with the scent of smoke, but there was a sense of calm after the storm. Lieutenant Davidson and his squad had secured the command center and stabilized the situation. The remnants of the alien forces had retreated, and the human troops were beginning to regroup. The victory at the command center was not just a tactical triumph, it was a symbol of hope for the future. Davidson addressed his squad and the gathered troops, their faces showing the exhaustion of prolonged combat, but also the spark of renewed hope. Today, we've shown that we can face the impossible and emerge victorious. This battle was hard fought, and we've paid a heavy price, but we've taken a crucial step forward. The soldiers responded with a mixture of cheers and sullen nods, their spirits lifted by the promise of victory and the end of a long and grueling fight. They knew that the war was far from over, but the success of their mission had given them the strength to carry on. The resurgence. The alien forces' retreat was a significant blow to their morale. The loss of their command center and the chaos caused by the human assault had thrown their operations into disarray. In the days following the battle, the humans began to capitalize on their victory, launching a series of coordinated strikes against the disorganized alien forces. Davidson and his squad played a crucial role in these efforts. Their knowledge of the alien tactics and their experience from the recent battle made them invaluable assets. They worked tirelessly, leading raids, rescuing trapped soldiers, and gathering intelligence that would further weaken the alien invaders. The tide of the war began to shift. The alien forces, once confident in their superiority, were now forced to retreat under the relentless pressure of the human offensive. Each victory, no matter how small, contributed to the growing momentum of the human forces. The hero's welcome. Back on Earth, the news of the battle's outcome spread quickly. The victory at the Alien Command Center was celebrated as a turning point in the war. Davidson and his squad were hailed as heroes, their bravery and sacrifice inspiring countless others. A ceremony was held to honor the fallen and celebrate the achievements of those who had fought and survived. Davidson, though weary and scarred, accepted the accolades with a sense of pride and humility. The ceremony was a reminder of the price of victory and the resilience of the human spirit. As he stood among his comrades, Davidson reflected on the journey that had brought them to this point. The battle had been fierce, but it had also demonstrated the strength and determination of humanity. The struggle was far from over, but the victory had paved the way for a brighter future. The future. With the alien forces in retreat and the human forces regrouping, the focus shifted to the rebuilding and recovery efforts. The war had taken a toll on both sides, but the resilience of the human spirit had proven to be a powerful force. The victory at the Alien Command Center was a testament to the ingenuity, courage, and determination of those who fought. Davidson and his squad continued their work, now focused on rebuilding and strengthening their defenses. The lessons learned from the battle would guide their future strategies, and the spirit of cooperation and unity that had emerged from the conflict would be crucial in the days ahead. As the humans prepared for the next phase of their struggle, they did so with the knowledge that they had the strength to overcome any challenge. The battle had shown that even in the face of overwhelming odds, humanity could stand firm and prevail. In the end, the lone sniper's stand had not only marked a critical victory, but had also ignited a spark of hope that would carry humanity forward in their quest for peace and survival.